How many people here are familiar with Yeoman? How many people are actually using Yeoman? What do you think of Yeoman?
I don't use it a ton. I mean, generating stuff, I generally know kind of what I need already, but
Right.
you know, for from scratch stuff, I like it, especially for front end only things. You know, it does a good job of scaffolding out the things you want to be there.
Sure.
So I think it's a really awesome tool, and it's going places right now. You know, for our specific structure, you know, doing a lot of back end work as well. It's not super easy to just get it integrated with, you know, our folder structures and what types of things we want generated from it. But I know my coworker is working on kind of tweaking things a little bit to get that in place. So
Cool.
And Grunt and Bower are awesome.
Yeah.
And we have a workshop coming up, obviously, on all these tools.
Yeah. So keep your eyes peeled. There's a workshop coming up on these tools. Yeoman, when it first came out, I felt like it was half-baked. And I think that was kind of the general consensus. Even Brian Ford, who wrote all the Angular generators, for a long time he was just like, I don't know, like, I've got the jacket, I'm a core contributor, but eh. But recently it's gotten really good. And here's a few strengths about it. One is when you generate an application using Yeoman, is you kind of get the general consensus of this is the best way to put together an Angular application that scales. And so if somebody asked me, like, what's the best way to do that? What does that look like? I would say go run Yo Angular, and you'll see that in just a moment. And it's a pretty good idea of how I would put together an application. Grunt is a phenomenal build tool. It's great. It does a bajillion things, you know, doing a distribution build for production, concatenating everything together. I could go on and on. Bower is really neat for, it's basically an NPM for web components. Is I need this. Bower search, oh, here it is, Bower install, save. It's now in your dependency file. So, you know, if you've done any node, you've used NPM, it's awesome. Bower tries to basically replicate that same functionality, but for web components. The thing that I like most about Yeoman is you get your testing environment right out of the gates. It's before you kind of have to go move around and like, oh, I'm going to modify my, you know, my Karma config file and my grunt file. It works right out of the gate. So it's the easiest way for people who are coming into Angular and they're like, how do I get up and running writing test? And so people who are kind of on the visual side, moving more into application development that's kind of a sticking point for people is how do I write test? How do I do that? How do I get up and running? And I think a lot of people do not write test because of the tooling. Is they don't know how to set it up. They don't realize that it's really easy to do. And Yeoman just takes the pain right out of that for the most part. Caveat is AngularJS 1.2, they're moving to Protractor, which is the new test runner. And so we'll talk about this more later, but there's kind of this weird gap right now where end-to-end testing with Yeoman is a little sketchy. I actually had a problem actually getting mine to run, but Protractor, once they get that up, it'll be just seamless and you'll be able to run that. But running unit test is a breeze, and I'll show you how to do that later this afternoon. But it's a really fast way to generate an app and to generate certain things and put them in the right place.